What is darkness? Now, you might think to yourself, well, darkness is darkness. It pretty much defines itself. But maybe you thought about its counterpart, light. That in some way they have to do with one another. There's a relationship between them. Light is a physical thing, whether that be a particle, wave, really whatever it is. We know it's there. Darkness, on the other hand, isn't a particle or a thing. Darkness is not this material thing. In fact, darkness is a term we use to describe the absence of light. Look in Genesis. Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. It says, "Let there be light." And well, there was light. And God separated the light from the darkness, and yet he never said, "Let there be darkness." He said, "Let there be light." Darkness is just as real as the number 0. Because 0 isn't a real number, it's a symbol to show nothing. Because nothing is nothing. Nothing is the absence of something. Another question. What is goodness? Well, just like the relationship between light and dark, goodness is the light. Goodness is love. Goodness is patient. Goodness is kind. The list goes on. But its counterpart, its darkness, is sin, evil, wrongdoing. Why? Because it's the absence of goodness. James writes in chapter 4, verse 17, "To him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin." Look at Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. It says, "I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create calamity. I, the Lord, do all these things." Now, is God saying he creates calamity? He creates darkness? That he's the author of evil? By no means. What it's saying here is because God is who he is, goodness, when he is not there, or when people choose to reject him, you get calamity, you get darkness. Jesus described himself, he says, "I am the light of the world." Apart from him, what do you have? Darkness. Because God created light, because he created goodness, people chose to reject that. The angels, Satan, rejected that. And then came the darkness. And there was a separation of the two in the beginning. God separated the light from the dark, called the light day, called the darkness night. And yet, when he uttered the words, "Let there be light," he wasn't creating the sun, he wasn't creating the moon, he wasn't creating the stars. That was created later. So there's something else here. If you look at the Hebrew, it doesn't seem to be inferring a physical light or darkness, but rather a spiritual light and darkness. That in the beginning, when he said, "Let there be light," he was that light. And apart from him, you are in darkness. Look at John 1:1. "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." He was with God in the beginning. Through him, all things were made. Without him, nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. How can darkness overcome light? Darkness is just the absence of light. Let's skip to verse 9. "The true light that gives light to everyone was coming in the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him." Notice that. The world did not recognize him. When I read it, I imagine it like this. Our world was in such darkness. Imagine there was no light. In this case, you can imagine it physically, but I mean spiritually in this sense. There's darkness. That's all you know. All you know is darkness. You've never seen the light. Therefore, you don't even know you're in darkness. Because to know you're in darkness, you must know light. So when Christ comes into the world as that light, he makes known that we are in darkness. If the whole world was pitch black, but one person lit a candle, everyone would be drawn to it, everyone would see it, and everyone would realize their sinful state. And that's what he came to do. He came to be that light, that there might be a light in the world, that through his light, others might receive that light, and that we might no longer live in darkness.